dream last night that I had a DeLorean time machine. I was at some exotic locale and it looked incredible. Had the hat, the jacket, the hoverboard. But then I woke up.
Good afternoon or good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to Talk Wrestling here on the Jeff Meacham Network. I am, of course, your host, Jeff Meacham. That's what it says right here. And if I can get the dang thing back up where it's supposed to be, I will put it there. Boom, there it is right there. What a show we have for today. It is Monday, May 3rd, 2021. It is the first Talk Wrestling of May 2021, and we are not wasting any time today. We're going to get right into it. First of all, as we talked about last week and I talked about this morning, donate instantly to the channel at streamlabs.com/Jeff Meacham. That's the quickest way to get the money into my account, which gets into the equipment, which gets into your having a better presentation. So check that out. And if you want to super chat YouTube, that's cool too. I'll still get that money. Either way, I'm good with that. So however you want to do, boo, but I need the money now. So keep that in mind. On this week's episode of Talk Wrestling, we're going to have the following things. Very, very simple. Thoughts on last night's shows on A&E, of course, the A&E biography of WWE Legends and the WWE Hidden Lost Treasure Hunt, whatever the hell the stupid show is called, from last night. Our future on Anchor. Yes, we are returning to Anchor in a limited capacity. We also will talk about what I talked about this morning regarding the Patreon situation, whether we're going to move forward with that. And of course, as always, we will end the show, probably the second half of the show, with hashtag Ask Me Anything. So let's get right into the thoughts on last night's show. If my co-star is willing to go ahead and talk about these, I'll bring him in. If not, we'll wait till after that. Give me a thought. Okay, all right. So he's saying no. So we're going to go ahead and wait for that. So we'll bring him in later. So let me go ahead and first of all read the comments that came in while we were doing our ridiculously long intro. Good afternoon, Paulo. Good afternoon, Brandon. How are you? And Mr. Yuck, who actually has a question during Ask Me Anything. He sent it to me on Twitter, so I will definitely get to that later, my friends. So there you go. And Cleaver says, hey, from the office. Hello, Colin. Good to see you, brother. Glad we had a chance to converse this morning. My co-star is also giving you the salute. We will definitely let him do that when he pops in. But yeah, definitely good to hear from you, my friend. So last night, of course, is the A&E night for WWE. They had both their biography show and their Hidden Treasure or Lost Treasures show. The biography about Randy Savage. I mentioned it this morning briefly when I was on the air for my little morning show thing. That really irritated the shit out of me. I'm not going to lie. The first 2 weeks where we had shows about Stone Cold Steve Austin and about Roddy Piper were very much, as Conrad Thompson said, puff pieces compared to last night's Randy Savage biography. They spent a good chunk of that 2 hours painting a picture of a paranoid, mean, schizophrenic macho man. And I thought that was a terrible, terrible way to go. Very uncalled for. I'm very surprised that Lanny allowed his image to be part of that. And they took the footage that they shot with Randy's mother from the WWE DVD. So let's not kid ourselves there. That wasn't fresh footage for A&E. That was the Macho Man DVD that came out, I want to say, a few years ago, before, maybe right when he got Hall of Fame, maybe a little bit before, but that was not new footage. So they kind of recycled stuff. They somehow dug Gorgeous Georgia, wherever the hell rock she was hiding under. She had heard shit from her since she left the wrestling business. What really, really irritated me, though, was they let that piece of garbage Bubba the Love Sponge have any airtime whatsoever. That guy has proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that he is nothing more than a parasite on the people that they thought were for his friends. Hogan, Savage, everybody in the Tampa and greater area that is in wrestling or that is involved with Bubba. He is one of the worst people ever. He almost makes me want to put Vince Russo on a pedestal. That's how much I think of Bubba the Love Sponge. Just a garbage human being, and they gave him so much airtime. And they had him on that show a lot of the time. It was very, very distressing to see him be allowed to throw out his ridiculous opinions and pretend that anybody gives a shit about him. Very, very terrible. I know I'm being a hypocrite saying nobody gives a shit, and I'm giving this shit right now, but it's just frustrating that these people crawl from underneath their rocks to air laundry that's already been aired and washed and put back in the closet, man. Like, let it go, folks, especially you, Bub. I mean, you got Hogan in so much hot water with your obnoxious filming procedures that he had to sue Gawker and shut Gawker down. Like, granted, I'm okay with that, but he's garbage, and he deserves to be treated as garbage. Swept underneath that rock he came out from under, or thrown in the dumpster, end of Toy Story 3 style. Although no saving by the Martians for him. Just completely incinerate his ass. So I wasn't happy with the biography last night. I did enjoy the Treasures documentary, the Treasures episode. It was primarily a Jerry Lawler episode. Before we get that, Chris says, my 13-year-old never heard nor seen nor heard of Bubba the Love Sponge and immediately said he is full of crap during that show. Boom. See, the teenager gets it. It's there, man. I mean, I guarantee if I was allowed to show Dylan Wrestling, which I'm not going to worry about right now, but people have a way of outing themselves as who they are and what they're about within a few seconds if they're really the type of person that Bubba is. He's garbage. So yeah, 13-year-old never seen you before, and they knew right away. So there you go. The Hidden Treasure show I enjoyed thoroughly. Originally, it was a start. They sent the King, Jerry Lawler. He was the target of the focal point of the show. WWE's warehouse was trying to get a hold of the robe, the cape, and the crown he debuted in for WWE in 1993. That beautiful blue ensemble he wore many, many times over the years during his initial WWE run. Jerry had it himself in the house, which I thought was kind of interesting. They ended up, good evening. How you doing, Stu? Good to see you. They ended up, what do you call it? Saying, hey, what if we can get our hands on the neck brace that Andy Kaufman wore during the run with Jerry in the early 80s. So off they went, Jerry and the treasure hunter, which I always forget the guy's name. I feel bad. But they ended up Jerry's house. Jerry had the robe and the cape in his house, so that was kind of cool that he's had it after all these years. His wardrobe closet is really, really cool. He's got a lot of stuff he doesn't have. They ended up at Dave Milliken. If you're familiar with the lore of wrestling belts over the years, then you know that Dave Milliken is a big name in that area. He also collects pretty much every damn other thing in wrestling, and he had a huge section strictly for the King and all his paraphernalia. He even had the shirt that Jerry had the heart attack in and was, clinically dead for a little while back in 2012, I think that was, in Montreal. So that was kind of weird to see, and weird to have Jerry see it and like have his hands on it. It was very, very bizarre. They didn't buy that, obviously. They didn't want any part of that. I forget what they did take out of that meeting, but what they ended up giving Dave was money. And you know what it was? It was the it was one of the crowns, I think, if I remember. I'll have to go back and watch it again. But David ended up getting $5,000 and an original Jerry Lawler drawing of himself with the King outfit. So that was kind of cool. So then it was suggested that if anybody's going to have the Andy Kaufman neck brace, it would be Legendary magazine and wrestling journalists, and I mean real journalists, not Dave Meltzer type people, but actually a real journalist for real. Bill Apter, and because Bill Apter was around all of those events in the 80s and in the 90s, he was at Letterman when Andy was on with Jerry on Letterman show on Late Night with David Letterman back in 82. So they took a chance, and he had it. He had the actual Andy Kaufman neck brace. It was so crazy, and he didn't even charge them for it. He gave it to the archives out of the goodness of his heart because Bill Apter's an awesome person. Oh, it was Jerry's boot. Yeah. So Dave had the boots that Jerry wrestled in when he fought Andy in 82. So that's what they got for the $5,000 and the drawings. So that was cool. So they're going back to the warehouse, and they've got Jerry's boots from the Kaufman fight. They've got Andy's neck brace. They're still negotiating with the robe and the crown that Jerry had himself. It ended up being $10,000 was the number that Jerry asked for because it was so important to him, and Triple H met it, to his credit. They actually had Jimmy Hart show up at the warehouse to greet Jerry, so that was kind of cool, having a Lawler Jimmy Hart reunion, so that was kind of awesome to see. So that's how that show ended. It was only one real focal person, and that was Jerry. Of course, they talk about Andy. And while I'm on the subject of Andy Kaufman, I will go ahead and get a brief offering for this week's Ask Me Anything. I'll get more into that when you guys send in questions later. But Chris sent in a question. I'm going to go ahead and ask it now. Triple H specifically brought Andy Kaufman into Jerry Lawler's WWE Treasure Hunters episode. Do you feel Andy deserves or might possibly be Hall of Fame worthy? I miss the man and his true heel style. Would you share any memories or thoughts? Well, we did cover Andy's involvement in wrestling and his worthiness in the Hall of Fame on a recent episode of Dad's Always on Wrestling. And with saying that, you have to bring in the man who is my co-host and just an awesome guy as well, JJ Renegade. Let me unmute you there, sir. There you go. How you doing, bro?
I'm hanging in there, man. You?
I know. Yeah, it's definitely a interesting time for all of us. We talked about Andy at length because while we conceded, you and I, and we definitely agreed that without Cyndi Lauper, there is no WrestleMania. Without Andy Kaufman, Bill Apter said that Andy Kaufman's involvement really was the beginning of sports entertainment. Now, I don't know if that is necessarily true, and I say that because of people like Gorgeous George in the 50s. Gorgeous George had the whole literally pop circumstance. He came out to that music before Randy did. So he had it, he had the entertainment aspect down. But to have literally somebody come in from the outside, nobody done it before Andy Kaufman. So I kind of see where Bill's coming from.
Wasn't Ali and I believe Inoki before that?
Ali Inoki was 76. To be fair, though, Ali was a fighter. And there's in my opinion, there's a difference of a boxer coming in to be involved as a complete. I mean, Andy never called himself a comedian. He was very clear. He was never a comedian. He was a performance artist. But to have somebody come in from that world was unprecedented. Fair
enough.
There is no doubt in my mind that Andy deserves a spot in any wrestling Hall of Fame, especially WWE's.
The fact that he still isn't in there is a crime against humanity. You know, Andy Kaufman, Cyndi Lauper, these are names that should have been considered for Celebrity Wing even before Pete Rose. They should have been first ballot inductees.
Agreed.
And they're not in there yet, and it's a shame.
Definitely. So, since you're here, we'll go ahead and keep the Ask Meech Anything. Let's see if we got any other questions. We don't as of now. So, I'll go ahead and throw up the next topic, which was our future on Anchor. Because I did want to talk about that, because I'm sure you saw in the trailer. I don't know if I told you I was doing this yet. I decided that I missed having the audio outlet. So, beginning Saturday, and it's going to be posted, not live, because I don't do live on Anchor, as far as I know, at our regular time slot, it seems, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, with Meech's Musings. That's going to be on Anchor. Just kind of my thoughts on everything, be it wrestling, be it whatever. It's kind of in the same vein as I wanted 811 to be, but 811 keeps on happening because I just get so busy during the course of the evenings that by the time I realize it's 811 time, it's 10 o'clock, and it's like, oh shit, can't do that. So, but I wanted to ask you, because you and I talked about this before, and I actually talked about it with a few other people over the last week with the whole money thing. Patreon seems to be a very popular outlet for a lot of my friends and a lot of people I know that are creators and the like. And I wanted to get your opinion on, because I'm thinking, okay, maybe post the XMVs, but that's a can of worms that I don't want to necessarily open yet without severe editing for most of the 100 episodes, because a lot of that shit you can't air anymore, even with a Patreon paywall through it. It's bad. And not bad quality, well. Just very poor taste.
It doesn't age well.
No, it does not age well whatsoever. So, but you mentioned to me earlier, we were talking about something I did want to talk about here on the show here briefly. We have a couple of really cool meet and greets coming up here in SoCal in the next 3 months or 4 months. Next month, I believe, or July, maybe June. Nora Greenwald, Molly Holly's coming out to the Wrestling Guy store, which I have met Nora, of course. We met her at PWG, if you happened to be lucky enough to see her there when she was just kind of scouting during All-Star Weekend, WrestleMania 21 weekend. And I'm not able to get a picture, whether if I did, the camera didn't quality or turn out or whatever. So I would have definitely wanted me here. But then, my goodness, Kurt Angle's coming back. He's been to this store before. He's coming out in August. And you brought up a very good point that I would be best suited, I think, to make interviews like that, or interviews period down the line, Patreon content. Fill me in on that while I answer the person who's in the room and knows I'm going live, but is still standing off camera to bug me. So give me the spiel, brother.
No worries. I just was thinking that, you've had communication with the Wrestling Guy store in the past. Most recently when RVD was out there and had discussed the possibility of doing a live stream or setting up an interview with the talent that they brought in, as a way to help your own self and your channel, but also as a way to kind of cross brand and promote their store and their upcoming events, much like we had done back in the days with Long Beach Clothing Company. And so I had come up with the idea that if you can work this with the store manager, go in there, interview these guys and make that content available to your Patreon backers. Excuse me. Don't post everything on YouTube. Or if you are going to post it on YouTube, maybe make it like a month later. That way, all your Patreon subscribers get access to that content first and foremost.
Right, exactly. That would be the reason why, because it's just this YouTube thing just irritates the shit out of me. That even if I hit $100 in a month, I have to wait till the end of the following month to get paid. That doesn't work for me, and that's why I have Streamlabs going down below. That's why Patreon would be the best way to go. You know how I am about asking for money. I hate doing that shit. So my thing would be, like, do I do tiers, or do I just say, hey, flat rate, you pay this much a month, here's what you get access to? Because I know a lot of people, like Danielle Harris, I know has a lot of tiers. My buddy Alex has a lot of tiers on hers. Conrad has different tiers on his. So I'm just, I almost at a loss, like, okay, what do I want to do? What am I comfortable with asking the fans for? Because
maybe your tiers could be the level of content.
Okay.
I mean, and what I mean by that, obviously, it would be the level of content. But what I mean by such is, like, let's say somebody subscribes to you for $10.
Okay.
Okay, for $10, they get access to interviews that you have already done.
Okay.
Archive footage.
Right.
Stuff that they can find on the Casa D18 Studios channel, or the Jeff Meacham Network, or the No DQ channel that you've been given access to repurpose and reuse.
Right.
Any of that type of existing footage. But if somebody subscribes for $25, they get access to brand new interview content.
Okay.
Nora Greenwald, if you can pull that off. Kurt Angle, if you can pull that off. Right. And then again, just like how maybe a month or so after giving that stuff to your Patreon subscribers, you put it up on YouTube, maybe a month or so down the line, that content, since it would now be old content, right, would become available for the $10 subscribers.
Okay.
Very much like a Disney Plus type of thing,
right?
To use a comparison.
Premium access.
If you want to see Raya the Last Dragon now, you can watch it for $29.98, right, or you can wait 3 to 6 months and you can see it as part of your free subscription.
Right. That makes sense.
So if you want access to the Nora Molly Holly interview, like the day after, as soon as he can get it home, edited, uploaded, right, $25. Right. If you're down to wait 2 or 3 months to have access for it, $10.
Right. I like it. I dig it. I'll have to definitely ask my buddy Alex how that all sets up, because she's my my Patreon expert. So I'll have to definitely talk to her about that.
A lot of people that do make a good amount of money on Patreon usually are either in the adult world in some way, shape, or form,
right,
or cosplayers,
right,
that offer cosplay content. Like I know that Anna Faith,
right,
who gained a bunch of notoriety because of her cosplaying as Elsa when
right,
Frozen first came out.
Right.
She does Patreon and is very successful at it.
Yeah.
I have another friend that does cosplay, same thing. She's contemplating doing a Patreon and getting that type of thing rolling.
Right.
So it definitely can be lucrative if you have the product to offer people.
Right. And the good thing about my situation is, and again, I'm not trying to be like anybody, just be different than like we talked about. But Conrad, his ad-free shows thing is great. If you pay, I think it's like $10, you get this, and he breaks it down. I mean, if you want to get the all-around full access to him, it ain't cheap, and it's not inexpensive at all. It's very, very expensive for people like me who don't have a lot of money. So, but people are paying it, man, because he's got all these amazing guys on his network. I mean, Jeff Jarrett just started the podcast on his network over the weekend. So, and Kurt Angle's with him now. So, maybe getting Kurt in an interview wouldn't be the worst way to get a little cross promotion rub. I mean, just something.
There you go.
But Chris says Kurt is headlining a show I'm a ring hand at for 2 blocks from my house on June 25th. Really looking forward to meeting him with my boys. Yeah, Kurt. I will say this about Kurt, because I got to meet him and briefly interview him at the Booker T podcast event back in 2017. Very, very humble for who he is. I mean, even take away, what is it, 1999? Even take away 22 years in professional wrestling. He was our first American Olympic gold medalist in freestyle wrestling. The dude is a stud just on that alone. The fact that he wasn't getting unlimited poontang on that just befuddles me. But, he was not married at the time, so good on him. We all make mistakes. Just seriously, for me talking to Kurt, it wasn't about former WWE champion, Hall of Famer for sure. One of the guys that made TNA the place to watch. I was standing next to an Olympic gold medal winner. It was very much like when the gold medalist winning hockey girls hockey team came into the Staples Center for the Kings game that one night. I was in the premiere area because I had tickets there that night. Oh my God! Like, these are gold medal. These people have actually earned a gold medal in the highest amateur athletic competition there is. It was just so overwhelming for me to meet those girls. And now I got fucking Kurt Angle next to me, like, holy shit. So it was a really cool moment. So now that I've had 4 years to, okay, breathe, I'll be okay. But, and of course, Nora, you and I both met Nora over the years. We love her. She's one of those rare people that's actually a decent human being in the wrestling business, which is very hard to find nowadays. Much more so than it ever was. I'm not going to lie. So she'd be great to have as a guest. And considering how short change she got on her Hall of Fame speech, and we know she did because they actually posted her full intended speech as a YouTube bonus. So she's definitely one to say what's on her mind. And I'm very, very much an advocate of that. You know that, and I know you are as well. So,
and if there's any way that I can make that, I'm definitely going to go to that one because I really want to sit down and talk with her again.
Right. And, scheduling is what it is. And I know that it's going to be a stretch if it happens. I would love to have you down there. I'm pretty sure Travis is going to be my wheels because that's my wheels these days going anywhere outside of Canadian country because we haven't done that in a while because we've been stuck here for a year. So we don't do that very often. But Medusa's going to be there as well, so I might talk to them about meeting Medusa. Heath Miller, actually, Heath Slater is going to be there this weekend, coming up on Saturday. So if you guys want to hop down there to Huntington Park, check out the former Heath Slater, Heath Miller. He'll be there, autographs and pictures. Great. He's a fun guy. We met Heath at Access 2011 when we met every damn buddy. The picture with me and him turned out wonderfully because he looks like he's half slacked, on whatever they were drinking in the green room before they came out for the Access. And it looked like I'm in my 30s, actually I was 28 at the time. So in my late 20s, fat ginger roasting in the California sun. So pretty much was what it was. They have a lot of cool people coming up there. They actually had Andrade there yesterday. And I'm a fan of Andrade's. I liked his work in NXT and in WWE. I like the fact that he has been very vocal against trying to get Kenny Omega's attention. Because I love that. I love the guys that are unsigned trying to chirp at the establishment. And granted, we're calling AEW establishment like it really is. It's not really the establishment, but they're starting to become that. And I think that's wonderful for them. They're doing that. And of course, Andrade is with Charlotte Flair, which, dude, here, let me just do that for a second because damn. But before we move on to the next comment, and I think, okay, this is not a question, so I will go ahead and you sent something to me today. Into Statboy, and it just chapped my ass to no end. It's not wrestling, so if you're watching on demand, you want to fast forward a couple minutes, that's totally okay with me. If you're watching live, tough shit, mute me, whatever, I don't care.
It is Ask Me Anything, and
that's
I
right.
sent this news story to him because it's anything.
It is a big
And
deal
it-
for me. So
Yeah.
you all know the tale of Sleeping Beauty, and you all know the tale of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, both made by Disney early in his animation movie, full-length animated feature career. The gist of the Snow White story, at least the Disney version, is she eats the poison apple. She's in the glass encased coffin. The prince wakes her up. Happy ever after. Blah blah blah. It's happened in every Disney version of Snow White since, including Once Upon a Time, which breaks all the damn rules. They still follow the True Love's Kiss rule. So it's established. 1937. Let's see. 84 years ago, for the love of here comes fucking God. And they reopened the park Friday. And the scene in the ride is exactly as it was in the movie. He wakes her with a kiss. And everything's happy ever after. These dumb motherfuckers are trying to get Snow White redone again because the kiss was non-consensual. It is a fairy tale. It's a Disney cartoon dark ride. You stupid, over anal compulsive motherfuckers, you. I think it was 4, but whatever. I don't care. We all need to stop this whole cancel. And again, I know I'm the whitest and most man dude in the room, okay? Fuck it. I don't care. There's another one, by the way. We need to stop this cancel culture bullshit, okay? Not everything has to be made so 1 or 2 people out of 7.5 billion can enjoy it. You don't go on a Snow White attraction and not expect the kiss at the end of the story. That's one of those things where you see Disney Plus where this thing is not okay then, it was not okay now. You cannot tell me getting a kiss from your true love and being woken back up and having your life saved is a bad thing. Kiss my big ginger ass if you do, and get the fuck off my channel. Thank you very much. All right, another one. So, and there we go. Everybody's chiming in. See, there you go. I love it. I love it. Like,
And I know he's not here right now, but I'm pretty sure that rant was #Statboy approved.
Well, I do have something over here that's Statboy approved. We'll get to in a minute. We'll do that momentarily. I want to make sure we were toward the end of the show before I did the next phase of that.
Yeah, I didn't expect you to go off on that animated of a diatribe, but yeah, I mean, it's like it's the intent within the story. There was no ill intent with the prince giving her a kiss to wake her up.
No.
Now, you know, if he had slipped her a couple Mickeys and then tried to give her a kiss, it's a different story.
Yeah.
But she ate the poison and he tried to give her a kiss to wake her up. True love's kiss. Like somebody said in the comments, on the worst end, it's True Love's kiss that worked.
Huh.
On the best end, God damn it, he's performing CPR. Leave him alone.
Right?
Either way, there's no malicious intent in the prince's kiss for Snow White or Sleeping Beauty for that matter.
I was going to
Granted,
say,
Sleeping Beauty isn't what's in question. It's the attraction at Disneyland, like you said, that just opened 4 days ago. And people are already trying to change it.
here's my thing, and you actually brought this up to me in our conversation before we went on the air, so I'll definitely let you elaborate. First of all, he wasn't trying to wake her up in the first place. He was trying to give her a kiss goodbye because he didn't make it in time. And he was dejected that he lost his opportunity at True Love because he knew Snow White was his one and only. And he was sad. We were all, hell, I watched that. I was born 46 years after that movie came out, and I was still 56 years, excuse me, and I was still sad watching it at the end. Like, dude, for real. But here's my problem with cancel culture. I'll tell you what, all y'all that are bitching about it's not consensual, I invite you to read the Grimm's Fairy Tales version, the original version of these movies, of these books. JJ let me know how Sleeping Beauty gets woken up in those versions. You couldn't air that on HBO, let alone Disney Plus. Okay? No.
It's not Grimm's Fairy Tales version. It's the version written by Anne Rice under her pseudonym.
Oh, I'm sorry. Even still.
She gets woken up by something else put inside her. And considering all the F-bombs you've just dropped, I'm just going to leave it at that.
Put it this way. Alternate entry, other than a kiss. There you go. That's dark shit. I'm okay with canceling that because I love these damn stories. Okay? So, yeah. And here's the real kicker for me, and this is going to sound really kind of not important in the grand scheme of things, but it really is. We have waited 13 months for that place to open up. And I mean we being the Disneyland dorks that would go there every day if they could, would have a pass if they could, would do nothing but people watch every day, like he and I did, if we could. Frickin' people get the park open, and it doesn't even finish the weekend without somebody bitching.
Yep.
I got news for you, and I'm pretty sure this is true. So if I'm wrong, please let me know. And if you donate on Streetlabs, I'll even read your rebuttal on the air. I'm almost positive that not one person that crossed those gates Thursday during the cast preview, Friday, Saturday, or yesterday during the overall had a gun to their head when they passed through those turnstiles. Nobody's forcing you to go to the park. And I'll even go you one better. If they did force you into the park, I guarantee nobody forced your ass to Fantasyland to see the redo of Snow White. So shut the f up and get over yourself. Yes, sir.
The reopening of the reopening of Snow White is the longest wait in the park right now because of the changes and everything. So people may not be being forced to go to Fantasyland, but it's the hot ticket item right now, and everybody wants to go see the new story.
Whoa.
Yes.
Want to see it?
I know you're saying that you're doing the Hulk Hogan thing. They want to see.
Oh, okay. So they want to go on the ride and want to experience the new story as it's been laid out.
But they have a problem with the ending.
Right, okay.
Which is the same ending as the movie. Which has been around since 1937. In
the grand words of Captain Kirk on the streets of San Francisco in 1986, double dumbass on you then. Like, for real, like, you're an idiot. The Splash Mountain retheme, he and I went over that a few months ago. JJ and I did. I'm almost to the point where I don't even care anymore. Because, like, Song of the South is such a polarizing thing that it shouldn't have been included in anything that would be an attraction going forward. It just should not be. So the fact that in 1989, which 40 years after its release, at least,
give or take,
that it was and not just one attraction, 4 to 2. So let's not kid ourselves. This was done with intent, and they're still having the bitch fit about it. Again, if you don't like a particular portion of, guarantee you, he and I could give a shit about going back there at all since they got rid of the Country Bears anyway. So, and with all due respect to the tubby little cubby all stuff with Fluff, I give a fuck about Pooh Corner unless Santa Claus is back there. All right? So, I don't need to go into Bear Critter Country, whatever the hell it's called. I don't need to go back there. I'm good. Doesn't mean you have to and find a reason to bitch about Splash Mountain or Pooh or whatever the hell, you're bitching about in this moment. Oy. And again, I love how I brought this up last week, so I'm going to try to be really good here and not dwell on it too much. 2 weeks in a row now, I come on the air for Talk Wrestling, and somebody's culture canceling something or arguing about it. Last week it was our good buddy who came out to a Tom Selleck TV show theme back in the day. This week it's Disney. Like, y'all need to
stay tuned next week to see what it is then.
Right? Y'all just need to grow up and relax a bit, man. For real.
Yeah. 2 things real quick before you move on to the next topic.
Yes, sir.
Just for clarification, I went ahead and I Googled so that I could have the correct title and everything. The book is called The Claiming of Sleeping Beauty, and the official pen name is A.N. Roclair, but it's Anne Rice's pseudonym. For anybody that wants to look for it, read the first chapter there to find out how she's woken up. Proceed with caution if you choose to. And you want to talk about something worse than True Love's Kiss, there it is. And in regards to Tim's question, like you said, 40-something years ago, it shouldn't have been made if it was such a problem.
Yep.
But it was made. And it focused on the characters in the animated shorts within Song of the South, which had been released in other Disney media because those were the pieces that there weren't as much issue with. It was the live action parts that most people had issue with because of the portrayals and the glamorization of the plantation culture.
Right.
So,
which I agree with, for the record.
So the fact that the matter that the ride was based on the characters that there was no problem with, and the stories within said movie that there was no real problem with, that them changing it now is just silly. And we kind of talked about this a little bit last Friday when we did our top 10 Disney attractions themes.
Right.
I'm sure some of those characters are still going to be found within Splash Mountain because Disney always has a tendency of leaving a little nod, a little tip of the hat, if you will, to whatever prior attraction was within said space.
Right.
That's why Max, Melvin, and Buff are still in the Pooh ride.
Right.
And a little tip of the hat there.
And to be fair to Splash Mountain, it was pretty much America Sings migrated about a mile east and settled on the mountainside. So, you know,
in all honesty, I'm curious to see what they're going to do with the Splash redo.
As am I.
Princess of the Frog fits within the area because it's right there on the border of New Orleans Square.
Yes.
You've got the Pirates Bayou, you've got the Victorian Mansion for Haunted Mansion, then you've got the Bayou type of feel with the swamp critters and Lewis and Ray.
Yep.
And the frogs. I'm sure it's all going to be beautifully told stories that Disney does with their attractions. We'll see.
We shall see. So, Paulo wants to know my thoughts on Roman Reigns' new music. I heard someone say it was like a final boss music, and I agree. Yeah, if you watched SmackDown Friday night, I know you probably didn't, Jay, because you were working, and you don't really watch current wrestling, which I don't blame you, quite frankly. I did watch it on Hulu Saturday. It's good. It's way better in that it's not a Shield retread, which was the key. They need to get away from anything tying any of the three of them, even though Moxie's in AEW now and in Japan, to the Shield. The Shield is dead. All three of them have moved way beyond that trio storyline and gimmick and whatever. They're all better off for it. Yes, they had the initial rub, but it is damn good music. I wholeheartedly agree. All right. Anything else? And you're right. It should have been changed. It should have been changed the minute he came back as the heel with Paul and the whole thing. It should have been a new deal. So hopefully it sticks. Hopefully the exodus of Daniel Bryan, whether he ends up be it tonight on Raw, NXT, or wherever, will benefit him as well. Because I'm imagining the matches for Bryan Danielson, Daniel Bryan, and NXT, and I'm drooling out of the side of my chin here. So hopefully we get some of those in the coming weeks. So while we wait for the comments to come in, I'm going to go ahead and go to this. It's much like on Renegades Recap every month. It's mail time, and hang on, sorry, move the camera. That's the problem with having a cord right there. It messes up. Bear with me. Come on, damn it. There we go. All right. Come on, baby. Really? We're live, folks. Okay. So this came in the mail. I forgot it was coming, to be honest with you, because I had forgotten about the conversation. But this is from our buddy, Stat Boy.
Yay!
And of course, we'll have Stat Boy Sports Bar. Let me go ahead and throw that plug up there now. I'm thinking about it tomorrow. It'll be on Tuesday this week because of on his control as far as work goes. Come on. Maybe? Did it go? I don't know.
It was there, but it came down real quick.
And there it goes. So we'll be on tomorrow. So, yeah, I know. It's because this damn thing's lagging. That'll be tomorrow at 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 Pacific for you kids out here in California. That'll be when he's on. So he asked me if I package arrived. I said it did, but I was going to open it on the air so I could get a genuine reaction. I have not. You can see it. I've just got this right here. It's all I was going to tear just a second ago, but I waited. I haven't opened this yet. It came from Mike's place, so we'll see what Stat Boy sent me. And whatever it is, I'll wear it on the show tomorrow for what it's worth. So that. And we get rid of the packaging. Ooh, nice. Let's get rid of the tag here. Let's show the price on the here and embarrassing because it's not that expensive. Oh, cool. Very nice. I love it. Dollywood shirt.
Very cool.
I love it, Mikey. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that very much. That's too cool, man. Now, this will be my wardrobe for tomorrow's Stat Boy Sports Bar, along with probably the Back to the Future hat. So, let's see what we got here for anything. Good show, guys. Dig it. Yeah, I liked my show. Just didn't like the Macho Man documentary. Am I going to watch the Blood and Guts match? I don't know. And I only say I don't know because I'm not sure if I'm going to be at home Wednesday night. It's not a matter of if I want to watch it because they're actually doing a real War Games, like for real, with 2 rings and a double cage with a lid on the top of the cage. Like it's actually the real thing. So I look forward to it. But I don't know if I'll be here. So I will definitely DVR it. I do intend to watch it. It's just a matter of when. That's the key. Whoops. I didn't mean to. Thank you. So let's see. What wrestling show and wrestler gets you most excited each week at the moment? That's an interesting phrasing of that question, but I'll go ahead and make it non-dirty as possible.
Hey,
because the answer is Charlotte and Alexa. Anyway, okay, the show-wise, honestly, right now of current shows, NWA Power and SmackDown. SmackDown's WWE's best show right now, and that's saying something considering Raw's been the flagship for so long. But SmackDown for WWE, and then I definitely love NWA Power every week. I love that show. I can't wait to see it every week. It's awesome. One more plus for the dads. Yeah, definitely. Andy was part of a bigger story that we told about the celebrities in general on the Hall of Fame because it's kind of a wishy-washy thing because I don't, either you induct people you should induct in that wing or just don't have it at all. And he and I went back and forth on that show because, like you said, Pete Rose is the first, and it's like, yeah, Cindy should have, yeah, Mr. T, Andy, and I get why they did Pete because he's continually barred from baseball, and he can't go in the Hall of Fame, so I get it. But what I love is the comparison because I don't know if you heard over the weekend, Jay, about Roberto Alomar. Did you hear about this?
No. Roberto
Alomar, who is a legendary baseball player, he's played every damn place. He's now he's in the camp of one team. He's been in the developmental coaching staff for I think down in Tampa. I could be wrong on that. an investigation done by Major League Baseball discovered sexual improprieties on his part. They banned him from baseball. Just done. Didn't even blink. Like, damn. And here's my thing with that. And again, this is going to sound well. Oh, dude, you're choosing the wrong hill to die on. I've been dying on hills worse than this for years. Come on, guys, you've been watching me long enough. Roberto Alomar is out of baseball for what he did, and I think he should be. Pete is out of baseball because of betting, which he should have been, but he's atoned for his sins, which I feel that they should, like he did it at least 35 years ago, and he was charged with it, and he got caught, and he got busted. But other Hall of Fames let people, they excommunicate them, they bring them back in once they've atoned or whatever. But whoever the commissioner of baseball is refuses to see Pete's case, and I think it's a damn shame. One of the greatest hitters of all time, if not the greatest hitter of all time, overall hitter, not just home runs or whatever, but one of the best ever, one of the best fielders ever. Honestly, part of one of the better dynasties in baseball, the Red Machine in the 70s. So, how do you deny this guy a Hall of Fame induction, but you let some of these other schlubs that they did worse than they're being accused of, and they let him stay? So again, that's how I feel about Pete, and I will forever say that. And I've met Pete more than once, and I feel that he definitely has remorse for what he did, and I don't know if this is true, so bear with me if I'm wrong here. I will check it later and double down if I'm right and rescind if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure O.J. Simpson's in the Hall of Fame. And if he is, and Pete Rose isn't in the Baseball Hall of Fame, that's bullshit. Because whether he was criminally convicted of it or not, he was found legally responsible in a civil suit. Now, again, I don't know. I'm no legal expert. Lord knows I'm not bad, and I don't really know who to turn to on things like that these days. But I will say this. If you're responsible for two people's deaths, whether you carried out or not, you're kind of a bad person anyway. So, anyway. So, if I did have my little helper, goddamn camera, son of a bitch. If I had my little helper, oh, geez, that's a bad shot. There we go. If I had my little helper here on a permanent loan, I definitely get Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame. I would probably, let's see, if I only have three. Let's see. Rose in the Hall of Fame. Not having my accident in 2001, and a supply of cash that wouldn't offset the world economy, but at least people help us out here in the Jeff Mitchell Network. But you can do that yourself by going to streamlabs.com/Jeff Meacham and donate directly. You can also buy our merch, buy the shirt. Well, this is not my shirt. I don't have the hats on there, but anyway.
And I'm not wearing the shirt either this time.
Yeah, we're being very poor merch people today. That's okay. You can buy our shirts at teespring.com/stores/Jeff Meacham Network. I know the link is new now because they changed the way it's laid out. That's what I got. Tomorrow, as I mentioned, Staff Boys Sports Bar, again, 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 Pacific, right here on YouTube as well as on Mikey's Twitter. I don't have his Facebook attached to it right now. I got to reattach that eventually. Wednesday, the Greg Cherry Show on both channels, Greg's and my own. The latest weird state laws, whatever we end up doing, our Q&A, and of course a look back at the week and a look ahead to what's coming on WTC. Thursday, the No DQ review I'll be on for the first time in a long time. We'll be simulcasting that with the No DQ channel. So that'll be live on their channel, and then you'll see the feed here as well. Friday at 7 o'clock 4 Pacific, it is the replay of this gentleman right here and his review of the infamous Star Wars Holiday Special. Since it is all past 5 o'clock in most parts of the country, I definitely recommend booze or something if you watch the movie. If you watch his review, you'll be okay. But if you watch the movie itself, God help you. Wow. Terrible. There it is. There you go. He has on DVD. He's so dedicated. There you go. He didn't even bother with YouTube. He actually got the full copy. Good for you, brother. Of course, we're going back to Anchor on Saturday, as I mentioned. Meech's Musings will be back on Anchor, Spotify, and many, many more. And that's at 7 o'clock, 4 Pacific on Saturday. Let's see here. And then, of course, we'll be back here next week with Talk Wrestling. In the weeks to come, in months to come, on Dads, we've got Kane's Greatest Matches Top 10, the top summer blockbusters of all time, the top matches from the entire career of Steve Austin, not just Stone Cold.
What?
What? Exactly. The top 10
NWO moments.
Well, no, I was going to skip. I was going to do in between Stone Cold and NWO, we have our top 10 live action movies from the Walt Disney movie studios productions, which is more than just Roger Rabbit, Pete's Dragon, Mary Poppins. There's a whole lot of the umbrella. Do your research, and you'll know why our lists are the way they are on the 25th.
Yeah, anything that falls under the Disney umbrella is fair game. We didn't clarify this. Are we going to include 20th Century Fox and Marvel Studios, which they purchased, or are we just going to include like Touchstone, Hollywood Pictures, the companies that they started for their side projects that weren't exactly typical Disney friendly?
I'll say just,
but still Disney.
I'm going to say the ones they started, because if we do the best of the Absorbians, then we're done with the MCU and Star Wars. We have a 10-minute show. I mean, really. So it's just freaking useless, because we're both going to say original trilogy, prequel trilogy. Okay, so one more. Rogue One. Boom, done. That's it. Good night. It's like, So yeah, no Lucasfilm, no Marvel Studios, none of that shit. Those would be for other shows. And as you said, you're. Go ahead.
Say, but Walt Disney Studios productions, like you said, Pete's Dragon, Mary Poppins, Pirates of the Caribbean,
right?
Touchstone Pictures, which off the top of my head, you've got Roger Rabbit, Splash, Hollywood Pictures. There's a few that came out under that umbrella, one of which is definitely going on my list. Yeah. And if you know me, you should know exactly which one.
Oh, I know this. So I found out, and I'm going to reveal one of mine now because I love this movie so much. Under that peripheral umbrella is Pretty Woman. So that is on my list for damn sure. And when I found out it was Touchstone, I was like, yeah, I can see why the Touchstone did this, not Walt Disney. Yeah. Woo. So,
and while we're plugging, if I may be so bold,
by all means,
once you're done with this, or when you're done watching Raw this evening, go back to the Casa D18 Studios YouTube channel. Check out my review today for Revenge of the Sith, episode 3 of the Star Wars saga.
Episode 3 on May 3rd, imagine that.
Tomorrow, for May the 4th be with you, we will be discussing Solo. Revenge of the 5th, May 5th, Wednesday will be Rogue One.
Yeah, buddy.
Thursday will be A New Hope. Friday will be the holiday special, as Jeff already touched on. You'll get the original broadcast on my channel, and then the replay here at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific.
Yes, sir.
Saturday, The Empire Strikes Back. And Sunday, The Ewoks Caravan of Courage.
So a lot of these I know you guys haven't seen before, especially the Ewok movies and the holiday special. I definitely encourage you guys to watch the movies. The holiday special, if you don't have a hard copy, you have to find it. Is on YouTube in its entirety. But everything else JJ is reviewing is in the Disney Plus library now because of the Star Wars. What's that called? What's that damn area that the Star Wars called? Let me think here for a minute.
Star Wars Land?
No. On Disney Plus, there's a certain section where Ewok movies and the other vintage stuff is called.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's a whole separate thing for it that's just the Ewok movies, the Ewok cartoons, the shorts, all that stuff, like from back in the day. I want to say vintage, but that doesn't sound right. Anyway, go check that stuff out, please. Very, very cool. And then check out his reviews of it because, I mean, the first however many days of this month are Star Wars because, of course, May 4th is during the early part of the month. So we did that on purpose. So, but I encourage you guys, if you don't have Disney Plus and you have hard copies, watch these things. They're very, very good. And they're some of the best movies of all time, not just sci-fi. They're some of the best stories ever told in cinema history. So check them out. He'll review them. He runs a half hour-ish every show, except for the ones he and I are going to do. They'll be about 2 hours with hour 45 of me talking, and that's okay. And by the way, those two shows will be on. The first one will be The Rise of Skywalker. When he reviews that, I'll be on for that. And then I'm also be on the review for Star Trek Nemesis. And he kind of knows why, but not really. I know for a reason why. Granted, they're both the end of the proverbial tales, if you will, but there's more to it than that. And I will elaborate on those when we get to those dates. So I did see the questions come in, so we're going to get ready to wrap it up here because I don't want to cut in the raw. I actually want to see how they do today. What should SmackDown do with Shane Thorne and Mia Yim? I wouldn't be opposed to a Buddy Murphy and Shane Thorne tag team. I'm all right with that. Shane Thorne is a good, solid talent, and Mia Yim, we actually had her signed up for what do you call it? Wild for a while. So I'm always glad to see her doing her thing. Buddy and Shane, I mean, again, if they don't let Buddy go, why not? Just have him do something. Also, where does Jimmy Uso fit in upon his return? They seem to be pretty high on Jay as a singles. They'll put Jimmy in line with the family. He'll be part of the family for sure.
But he needs to try to feud and oppose them at first.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that.
He can't come in and immediately join the family. You've got to have that opposition for a little bit, especially if they're going to go with Roman Rocky at Mania next year.
Right.
You've got to use Jay as a pawn to draw Rocky out.
Yeah, Jimmy owes Reigns a receipt anyway because Jimmy came in to try to stop him beating up Jay, and Roman ended up turning on Jimmy to cause Jay to quit. So that's there's definitely a thread to pull there. So I agree with you 100%. They need to have Jimmy be another target before he falls in line. Anything I'm looking forward to on Raw? I'm actually looking forward to watching the show. I really don't know what to expect. I haven't watched it in a few weeks, so I've kind of been getting stuff filtered in as I could. And yeah, CJ says, do you think Peacock will remove Chris Benoit's matches? It wouldn't surprise me. It really wouldn't, but I don't know. So we shall see when that does occur, if it is the case. All right, guys. I appreciate everybody being along for the ride today. Forgive me if the background gets wiggy here for a second. No, it's blue. There you go. Hi. Because I didn't need to get to my closing. Where the hell? Oh, I don't have it on here either. Where the hell is it? Oh, well. Anyway, thank you guys. Much appreciated that you stopped by today and checked me out for an hour. Check out Monday Night Raw. And then, of course, check out Aaron's review coming up at 11 o'clock Eastern. Full Raw review. Until tomorrow for Staffway Sports Bar, he is the Renegade. I'm the Meech, the Professor himself, and we will see you guys next time right here on Talk Wrestling.